Nissan Qashqai is probably one of the most popular 4x4s on today's roads, but where does the Juke sit in the family? Well, it's the smaller SUV. We all quite like the looks of them. I quite like it. I think it's quite nice. But this is not your standard Juke. It's got Nismo RS written there, a nice badge there telling us that this isn't standard. It's the sportier version. And why would they make a sportier version of the Nissan Juke? Well, fast 4x4s and SUVs are all the rage. Every single brand out there has one. So Nissan had to play the game, as it were, and keep with the competition. Now, the touches of red every now and then there, just some trim there, and also on the mirrors will also tell you this isn't the standard one. It's got a little bit of a spoiler at the back and some little touches that tell you that this is the sportier version. It's the same on the inside, but above all, it does look a little bit plasticky in places where you put the touches there, but the Juke, it's not revolutionised the looks of the Juke. So if we like the Nissan Juke, we should like the look of the Nismo RS so far. So what's the Nismo like to drive? Well, the Juke is usually a pretty boring drive. If you've driven a standard Juke, it's nice, it does the job as an SUV, and this is just meant to be far more exhilarating. It's got 215 brake horsepower, it's a 1.6 litre petrol engine that powers it, and it does the trick. It feels like a little sports car. Everything is stiffer. I've got this sportier steering wheel that makes me feel like I'm in a sports car. I've got my sports mode down here when I flick through the modes. So it has got that element of sports car, and it feels a lot stiffer than your standard Juke. And when you get up to a speed, it is great. It will have you engaged the whole way round, and it feels a lot quicker than you're actually going. So this gets to 60 miles per hour in, I think it's about 7 seconds. Now, that doesn't really do it justice, because when you put your foot down in this, you get up to a pretty good speed. You feel like you're going a lot faster, and this is quite a lump still. It's not a tiny car by any stretch. So that's the pluses and the positives out of the way. There are a couple negatives. It doesn't do much at low speeds. The acceleration is a little underwhelming. You need to get above 3,500 revs until it really starts to react. There's a little bit of torque steering there, which I don't necessarily see as a bad thing. I think it's quite fun when it has a little play. This particular one that we've got is a two-wheel drive. There is the four-wheel drive auto option. This is a two-wheel drive, front-wheel drive car with the manual. But I think it feels a lot more like a driver's car because of it, which is a positive for me. I feel like I'm swinging it around the lanes here with a little bit of torque steer there in second, and then accelerating up to those 3,500 revs, where it then gets the power down to the road and you're away in a Juke sports car. Why would you buy this? What's the point of it? As I've mentioned, fast 4x4s and SUVs are taking over, so Nissan have got to keep up appearances, and why not do it with the littler SUV in the range, the Juke?
As I mentioned, the Nismo edition has this sporty Alcantara steering wheel with some touches of that same material on the dash. Some splashes of the Nismo badge makes you know you are not in your standard Juke. The seats have that same badge as well as that suede Alcantara feel. They are not particularly sporty, but I guess Nissan need to make sure you are comfortable in their SUV, rather than feeling like you're in a Focus RS. The drawback would be the infotainment graphics, that resemble something from a kid's toy, particularly when you change the driving modes. But on the whole, the Nismo is quite comfortable, and you will soon forget the graphics when you put your foot down, as this feels pretty fun when you get going.